me, if I can get through it. Run for the fall. This is very special to my heart as well.
To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Hey, Colt, would you mind doing that?
Of Run for the Fallen, honor and remember to run 1 mile for every Virginia service member as a result in serving during the War on Terror, including Operation Iraqi Freedom, Enduring Freedom, and New Dawn. Each mile of sweat and pain, and each flag saluted is to pay homage to one service member's life and their family. Do we have the honor? Yet it's very simple in nature. The red on this flag represents the blood spilled by the brave men and women in America's military throughout our history, who willingly gave their lives so that we could remain free. The blue star represents active service in military conflict. The symbol originated with World War I, but on this flag it signifies service through all generations of the American Revolution to the present day. The white border beneath and surrounding the gold star recognizes the purity of sacrifice. There is no greater price than an American can pay than to give his or her life in service to our country. The gold star signifies the ultimate sacrifice of a warrior in active service. It will not return home. Gold reflects the value of the life that was given. The folded flag signifies the final tribute to an individual life that a family sacrificed and gave this nation. And finally, the flame that is in the center of our gold star is an eternal reminder of the spirit that has departed this life, yet burns on in the memory of all who knew and loved the fallen hero. I welcome all of you to our Robert Vincent McMahon Memorial American Legion Post 10 home. You are our family tonight, and welcome. Tonight's dinner, our facility manager went a little further. I have slaw, pasta salad, deviled eggs, homemade barbecue, and homemade baked beans. If you want to start on this end, you may work your way through. There is Gatorade, Coke, and water. If there's something here you do not find that you'd like to have, let me know. All right? And welcome to our home.
We're going to do a ceremony first.
You want to do a ceremony? Very well.
We'll do that first, so then
Okay.
everybody can relax.
Go right ahead.
So, go ahead, sit down. Thank you. Tony, thank you. We have been here. Commander was talking about the Virginia Run for the Fallen, which we have done for the last 5 years. And we have always ended up our last evening before Arlington, right here at this post. And I will tell you that every runner who has participated in the last 5 years, it's a 250-mile run. Every one of them looks forward to the post in Manassas. It has been the best food and the best hospitality of the 4 days that we run. So we are so honored to be here. We're so privileged to be here, and you always make us so welcome. And we just thank you, Tony, for that.
It's our honor.
But we took the Virginia Run, didn't we? We put it on steroids. Because I will tell you what an amazing sight it was to see everybody out front. Many, I don't even want to say old faces, because we haven't been at it that long for people to get old, right? So there's so many recurring friends that have come in and out of our journey, over the last short time. And it has been amazing. I will tell you, if I got to keep myself from getting all emotional. If this would have ended right now, tonight here at the post, it would have been the most phenomenal ending that we could have had so far. And I would say, hey, forget it. Tomorrow we're done right here, loving on everybody that's with us. But Arlington Cemetery is one of the most amazing places on earth. And I hope if you have not been there, that tomorrow when you step foot into that hallowed ground, you'll realize the importance of what this mission is about and what this message is about, and representing literally every one of those gravestones, even though we may be running during the War on Terror. So thank you guys for those who came to welcome us in. This was our last full day of running. Okay, Tony, thank you for explaining the flag. I didn't have to do that. The flag, as you know, really is our message. You know, that flag represents every single fallen service member in the history of our country. Although we carried it across America for every single mile, and for those that died during the War on Terror, really it recognizes every single one who died for our nation. And so were we running for the War on Terror, calling their names out? Yeah, we were. But really, literally, we were running for them all. Because even though this generation are the ones that preserve our freedom, it's been many past generations are the ones that have given it. And so we honor them. And so how many here have watched the live feed? Hey, this is a great crowd. Thank you for that. We had yesterday, I think nearly 50 people that showed that they were watching. And I know there's a lot more than that, but 50 was the highest number we've seen across the entire country. So that was pretty amazing to go, oh wow, look, 50 people are watching. But really, I'm hoping it was many more. Because every time I run into someone, not literally, but every time we meet those on the side, the supporters and the families, they're going, oh, I turn it on every day, or my mom's watching, and I'm going, it doesn't record, doesn't show that anybody's watching, so we never know. And really it's important to us to know that the impact of what we're doing is not just right there where we are, but it's carrying around the world, really, because we're broadcasting to the world. So what did we do? 20,000 heroes, right, who died while serving or as a result of serving since the USS Cole, October 12, 2000. Our number is actually up to 20,061 up to this point right now. 20,061, and actually I've got word of 2 more casualties just this week. So unfortunately, we're continuing to add, and I hope that when we reach Arlington tomorrow, we will have the last person right up to that moment who has given their life for our country. So 20,000 heroes divided by or organized by their unique dates of death. So you know, if you've been following us, we started with October 12, 2000 as our first mile. It was one of the craziest miles to begin with because there were 40-mile-an-hour winds. And these runners were carrying full-size flags, as you know. It was a horrific first mile, you know, just trying to stay on the road. Every mile after that was a consecutive date of death, because that's the way we had this plan. From the beginning of October 12, 2000, every day after, every mile after that was a unique date of death. So traveling through 19 states, right? We're in our 19th state, our last and final state. Over almost 6,000 miles. We're going to be a little shy. Over almost 5 months, 5 physical month names anyway. We have been calling out the names of those that have given their lives. So we have run through 120 days now and have read over 19,000 names. I think we have read 19,870 names up to this moment right here. And this really is a historic moment because this isn't happening again. I don't know that physically I can take it, and neither my crew. And yet I was talking to one of them today, and I said, what if it just started and we just had to go back? And honestly, the answer was, I'm up for it. Right? I mean, the importance of what this mission accomplished, I hope will echo forever. because I'll never know the far reaches of what it means. But I will tell you that our hope was that we could drive a message of positive, celebratory remembrance to this nation, so that everyone not had a sad and somber, oh my gosh, we got a lot of dead people, but remembered their lives and remembered that each one of them had a name and that each one of them had a family and extended family and beyond. We saw some amazing extended families today. If you weren't watching, we had 2 amazing mile markers. We clogged up the whole road, made the police really mad at us. And yet we had 40 to 50 people crowded around, a very narrow stretch of road, and I had no expectation of that. No expectation of that. Do we have our flag, Dan? Where's Dan? We'll get that. I had no expectation of that. Why? Because we're now running. This was a powerful moment today, guys. It was happened to be on Quantico when we hit this number, or this date, but don't open it yet. But today we ran for the date. Don't open it yet. Today we ran for the date April 7, 2018. Okay, does that all know what that means? Today we ran for someone who died on April 7, 2018. That was the day we started. So every mile after that, and every mile into Arlington, is the name of a hero who gave their life while we were running. While we were running. Some of those people could have been on the run with us. Some of those service members could have been watching us. We don't know. But that was a powerful moment for me. It's a reality that we'll never be able to get away from. But we had such a large block of time we were running for. It was inevitable that we would cross over. And there may be still a service member yet to give their life before we hit Arlington tomorrow. I don't know. But our hope is that this becomes and became the most comprehensive fallen veteran tribute ever compiled. From a date and time to the exact moment that we enter Arlington National Cemetery. How many of you are going to be there tomorrow? Oh, geez. Okay. Well, if all of you are there tomorrow, we're here tonight, then we have our family. We have our family. And I know there's a lot who aren't here that said they were coming. So there should be a contingent in Arlington that will be amazing. It will actually be amazing. For those of you who haven't watched, I'm going to just say it anyway. Our mission was to make sure that every single one of those men and women, regardless of how they died, whether it was while serving or as a result of serving, were reverently and respectfully remembered. So we carried 4 full-size flags. 4 full-size flags, as I mentioned at the beginning, sometimes in 40-mile-an-hour winds, sometimes in torrential downpours. We put the flags down if it was lightning, but it wasn't often lightning. And along with those flags, we carried the placards with the names of those that died on a particular date of death. And we carried a set of flags for every one of those names that we were going to read. And we would come to a pre-designated spot, and we'd stop, and we'd ask, are there any Gold Star families present? How many Gold Star families do I have under this? God bless you. And just about every one that I see was at a marker somewhere in the country. And once we identified a family was there, we would come back to attention and we would begin to read our placard. This hero marker is designated for all military service members who lost their lives on this particular day. And then we would begin to read the names of each one. Sometimes there was one, and sometimes there was 50. Our largest number, I believe, was 56. 9/11. And as each name was read, we would plant a set of flags in the ground to honor each one of them. And once all of those names were read and those flags were planted, we would come back to attention and hand salute and render honors for each one that we recalled. And then we'd pick up the new placard and off we'd go to the next marker. It wasn't always a mile. It wasn't always a mile. We tried. But our mission was to read every name and to travel this country from West Coast to East Coast. And now we can bring out the flag. Those of you who have seen this flag before know what it is, but some of you may not. This flag contains the names of the families that came out to meet us somewhere across the nation. Whether they traveled from Virginia to California, from Florida to New Mexico, from Pennsylvania to Oklahoma, those families took it upon themselves. And I could explain the database and how you could find us, but I'm not going to go into that. They took it upon themselves to find out where we were, somewhere in the country, and when we were going to be there. And were waiting for us, either in the caravan or actually on the side of the road many times, just to hear us run up and conduct that ceremony the way I laid it out, so they could hear their loved one's name for 30 seconds. Thousands and thousands of miles, tens of hours, because many of them drove, to hear their loved one's name called for 30 seconds. Now, do you think that these families needed a reminder that they lost their children or their spouse or their family member? Not really. They didn't need a reminder. But what they needed to know is that somebody outside of themselves would take the time, however small or however big, to remember their loved one by name. Not just the collective, we're going to remember the fallen, but to take a moment to identify who they are, place them someplace along the road so that we could call their names out loud. I found it to be one of the most powerful moments that I could participate in. One of the most powerful moments. Can you see the number of names on that flag? The number of tears and hugs that went into that traveling flag? I know that our team embraced every single one of them. Sometimes I'm going, okay guys, we got another marker to do. But you know what? This wasn't going to happen again. And we needed to take the time that it needed to take. And so we loved on these families. If you have not signed that flag, by the way, please sign it before you leave tonight. We're going to get a lot more signatures in Arlington, I'm sure. And now that we're here, I want it filled as completely as possible with the names of our fallen heroes. So please get up with Laura later, or Dana. I'm going to stop talking and we're going to go to a concluding part of the ceremony. And that is where, if you have followed us, and it looks like many of you have, what we do at the end of every single day, without fail, is we reread the names of all those that we ran for that day. And I've explained it before, but I'm going to explain it again, because it might be my last time. I don't know. It's very noisy out there. Very, very noisy. And when we're reading those names collectively as a team, sometimes we don't even get to hear them. We have to yell them out loud because the road noise is so terrible. And sometimes the rain is beating down so hard. And so we like to reread them in a quieter place so that they're actually heard. And we like to record them for the families who aren't here with us. Because all of those families that you saw, those signatures, that may be 300 families, maybe 400 families. But what did I say? We ran for over 19,000. They didn't make it. I'm hoping they're watching. So we want to make sure that we read their loved one's name in a quiet place, so it's recorded and heard. But also, every one of you here, God bless you for being here. What an amazing sight. I'm telling you. You here can stand in for those families who aren't. So as we read those names, we may be reading your loved one's name today because you were on our day of honor. But many of you weren't. And so you have a chance to listen to a name as if it is your name and standing for that family. So I'm going to ask you to silence your cell phones because inevitably there's some funky ringtone that comes out the wrong time. And please forgive us as we read. We don't always pronounce everyone's name properly because we don't know all the families, but we do the best that we can. You may sit while we're reading these names, or you may stand. It is certainly up to you. And I'm going to ask Kristen to come up. Today we ran 71 markers, 71 dates of death for 125 service members.
No.
125 service members over 71 dates of death. And they were only in a short period of time. Kristen will tell you what period of time that is.
The dates that we ran for today were January 25th through May 9th of 2018. Cole, United States Army. Lieutenant Colonel Michael Goldthorpe, United States Army. Staff Sergeant Christopher Saxton, United States Army National Guard. Specialist Jordan Ellis Hood, United States Army. Private First Class Nicholas Michael Steele, United States Army. Specialist Jackson David Prim, United States Army. Petty Officer First Class Charles Richard Seal, United States Navy. Master Sergeant Patrick James Lensby, United States Army. Specialist Devin James Kuhn, United States Army. Master Chief Petty Officer Ronald Keith Shasky II, United States Navy. Specialist Chase Nelson Gale, United States Army. Private First Class Beckett Kernan, United States Marine Corps. First Sergeant Nicholas Sabin Amsbury, United States Army. Private First Class Jana Ain Harner, United States Army. Staff Sergeant Ariel Ivor Grunberg, United States Army. Staff Sergeant Christopher J. Feldman, United States Air Force. Lieutenant Colonel Jason Dale Good, United States Army. Specialist John Paul Funderburg Jr., United States Army. Sergeant First Class Jeffrey Glenn Fleming, United States Army. Specialist Jeremy Philip Allen, United States Army. Private Jordan Allen Davis, United States Army. Specialist Brent A. Reimer Jr., United States Army. Staff Sergeant Justin Wayne Lanham, United States Army. Sergeant First Class Jamie Harold Otts, United States Army. Staff Sergeant Luke Charles Yetter, United States Army. Sergeant Milo Marquesis Shelton, United States Army. Sergeant Christina M. Schoenecker, United States Army.
Specialist Kyle Edward Gober, United States Army. Specialist Avani John Maffey, United States Army. Specialist Nathan Brizzy Kane, United States Army. Specialist Israel Elliott Weaver, United States Army. Sergeant Christina Marie Schoenecker, United States Army. Specialist Stephen Albert Sprague, United States Army. Private Christopher Levert Williams, United States Army. Private Zachary Scott McGuire, United States Army. Specialist Corey Scott Shackelford, United States Army. Sergeant First Class Donovan LaShawn Blevins, United States Army. Captain Ryan Shea Kenner, United States Army. Command Sergeant Major Stephen Romlakan, United States Army. Captain Tony Lynn Pendergrass, United States Army. Private Colton Everett Vassar, United States Army. Sergeant Paul Alexander Henry, United States Army. Specialist Kyle Thomas Urian, United States Army. Specialist Devon Michael Wolof, United States Army. Private Jacob Ray Wilkes, United States Army. Specialist Igor Chervonik, United States Army. Command Sergeant Major Richard Lee Elgin, United States Army. Staff Sergeant Marlon Lewis Reed, United States Army. Sergeant Thomas Benjamin Forrest Jr., United States Army. Staff Sergeant Sammy Ben Garvey, United States Army. Sergeant First Class Maitland D. Wilson, United States Army. Sergeant First Class Andrew Keith Forrest, United States Army. Private Ashton Timothy Orion Fuller, United States Army. Chief Warrant Officer Jason Lamar Thomas, United States Army. Specialist Michael Joseph Grilla, United States Army. Specialist Brock Mathis Rollins, United States Army. Private Louis Emmanuel Vega Jr., United States Army. Private Nathan Donald Taylor, United States Army. Sergeant Taylor Wade Grimet, United States Army. Sergeant Kevin Bernard Anderson, United States Army. Lieutenant Commander James B. Johnson, United States Navy.
Lieutenant Caleb N. King, United States Navy. Major Kevin Peter Gross, United States Army. Private First Class Dylan Andrew Kelly, United States Army. Captain Mark K. Weber, United States Air Force. Captain Andreas B. O'Keefe, United States Air Force. Captain Christopher T. Zanettis, United States Air Force. Master Sergeant Christopher J. Raguso, United States Air Force. Staff Sergeant Deshaun J. Briggs, United States Air Force. Master Sergeant William R. Kosh, United States Air Force. Staff Sergeant Carl P. Enos, United States Air Force. Private Kenneth John Coburn, United States Army. Specialist Ronald Cornelius Church Jr., United States Army. Seaman David H. Fasulo, United States Navy. Sergeant First Class Jeremy Joseph Krebs, United States Army. Private First Class Jamani Malik Gibson, United States Army. Private Jacques Marquis Means, United States Army. Staff Sergeant John Edward McHugh, United States Army. Sergeant Marcos Leonardo Udino, United States Army. Private Rashad Nehemiah Roybal McIntosh, United States Army. Specialist Agner Sertain, United States Army. Airman First Class Bradley G. Hale, United States Air Force. Lieutenant Colonel John William Penry, United States Army. Master Sergeant Jonathan J. Dunbar, United States Army. Specialist Caleb C. Wells, United States Army. Specialist John Davis McCaslin, United States Army. Staff Sergeant Jason Lewis Sauka, United States Army. Captain Samuel A. Schultz, United States Marine Corps. First Lieutenant Samuel D. Phillips, United States Marine Corps. Lance Corporal Taylor J. Conrad, United States Marine Corps. Gunnery Sergeant Derek R. Holly, United States Marine Corps. Sergeant John Curtis Wynn, United States Army. Major Stephen Del Bagno, United States Air Force. Corporal Nicholas Allen Flores, United States Army. Sergeant First Class Brian Paul Aggie, United States Army.
Specialist Samson Shama Johnson, United States Army. Staff Sergeant Marco Antonio Torres, United States Army. Warrant Officer James John Casadonia, Jr., United States Army. Chief Warrant Officer Ryan Connolly, United States Army. Warrant Officer James Casadona, United States Army. Staff Sergeant Harcel Artnell Rosado Neves, United States Army. Private First Class Michael Anthony Harris, Jr., United States Army. Sergeant First Class Ramon Antonio Reyes, United States Army. Specialist John Daniel Cook, United States Army. Staff Sergeant Jason Kelly McCoy, United States Army. Specialist Homero Ramos, United States Army. Sergeant First Class Paul Joseph Weber Jr., United States Army. Sergeant First Class Jeffrey Maurice Allen, United States Army. Sergeant First Class Sean Robert Green, United States Army. Staff Sergeant Nicholas Alexander Carson, United States Army. Specialist Gabriel David Kond, United States Army. Lieutenant Colonel J. Luis Thoman, United States Army. Colonel Joseph Arnold Hochero, United States Army. Specialist Michael Anderson Hatfield, United States Army. Captain Darian Allen Johnson, United States Army. Major Mark Allen Stokes, United States Army. Staff Sergeant Glenn Campizzo Lemoseo, United States Army. Private First Class Ruben Gonzalez III, United States Army. Specialist Adam Kenneth Lorenzen, United States Army. Private First Class Tara Caroline Turnage, United States Army. Staff Sergeant Damon A. Ziegler, United States Marine Corps Reserve. Specialist Peter Thomas Ludy, United States Army. Specialist Austin Brent Blevins, United States Army. Sergeant Jesse Philip Singer, United States Army. Sergeant Jesus Adolfo Garcia, United States Army.
125 service members, over 71 dates of death. Before we close this portion, I'm going to do what we've done every single night throughout our entire journey, and that is to make sure that this is and can be the most comprehensive fallen veteran tribute. So before everyone sits down, I would like to give you the opportunity for time, if you are here and that name was not called out, from any generation, if you know of any loss from any generation, a family member, a neighbor, a battle buddy, it makes no difference. I will give you that opportunity to say that name out loud and branch of service. And if you want to say, what era, that would be great too. So I'm not going to take a lot of time, but I'm just going to sweep around. You're going to get one shot because there's a lot of people here and we're already holding you too long. We have some other things to do. So anyone over here? Yes, sir. Next one.
Sergeant Kenan James Alessandro, United States Marine Corps, May 9, 2004.
J.L. Cornell, Cordia, and Travis Solinsky.
Gunnery Sergeant Justin Robert Martoni, U.S. Marine Corps, 3706.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Paul A. Simon.
Thank you. Anyone else over here? Sweeping across. Yes, sir.
Staff Sergeant Rodriguez, OIF 2.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Petty Officer First Class John Carroll Garno, United States Navy, World War II.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Staff Sergeant Kenneth Wade Bennett.
Thank you. Behind you.
Sergeant First Class James Scott Oxford, Army.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Lieutenant Jerry Don Lawrence, Army, U.S. Army.
Thank you. Anyone in the middle here? Yes, sir.
ET1, Marcel Rene Goff, 11/29/69, U.S. Navy.
Steve.
PSC Eric Stephen Langridge, U.S. Army, February 3rd, 2004.
Yes, ma'am.
Staff Sergeant Dustin Andrew Whitaker, April 1st, 2012.
Yes, ma'am.
Major Andrew David Byers, November 3rd, 2016.
Anyone else in the middle?
Corporal Eric Mitchell, United States Marine Corps.
Yes, ma'am.
Stephen Dorval, James Haskell, United States Navy, World War II.
Yes, sir.
Captain Joshua E. Parrish, United States Marine Corps, January 2012. Chief Warrant Officer Scott Pierce, November 2010.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
National Edward Garvin, U.S. Marine, Corporal Scott Covio, U.S. Marine.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Private First Class Dylan Miles Jutras, United States Army Ranger, OIF.
Thank you. Thank you.
Command Sergeant Major Eric F. Cook, OIF 1. Sergeant Jonathan Hartman, OIF 1.
Yes, sir.
Staff Sergeant Tyler James Fox, United States Marine Corps, December 23rd, 2017, and Specialist Ryan Grandstaff, May 2016.
Anyone else over here? Go ahead.
Staff Sergeant Eddie Zorak, July 19, 2017, United States Army.
Airman First Class Matthew Lee Ward, United States Air Force.
Anyone else? If we can just take a moment of silence, bow our heads, and let's reflect on these names that we read today. All of these names that were just mentioned. All of the names that we ran for to this moment and their families that they represent. And the names yet to be read on our final leg to Arlington Cemetery. Amen. Amen. Please be seated. I have one more thing to do. I know everybody's probably getting anxious. I hope not. I hope everybody is just really enjoying the moment of being here and all that's being accomplished. And guys, we're not done yet over there, so.
Listen up, everybody. We're not done. Thank you.
I need to ask if the Adams family is here. Is there an Adams family here representing Justin Adams? No? Okay, thank you. And how about Thomas Latham? Anyone representing Thomas Latham? No? And then Stubenhofer. Anyone representing Mark Stubenhofer? Okay. All right, the last one I hope is the family representing Wayne Swain. Is the Swain family here? Excellent. One of the things that we have been able to do many times across our journey is to honor individual families with a special gift. And I can go into all of how this comes about, but I'm not going to. At least not now. What I have in my hand is an honorary member flag that has been hand sewn for this family. And it's folded in a triangle because, in case it's in a shadow box, and meant to be a gift from a grateful nation and a reminder of that life lost. The honor member flag, as I've said all along, is really meant to be a celebration of life. It's meant to be a gift and a symbol of appreciation, of thanks. So once it's open, it's never folded like this again. Not to be a reminder of loss, but an amazing account of memories and a celebration of life lived. So we present this flag to the Swain family. And let's see. Get somebody to hold it for me. Oh, it's here. I don't know what else to say.
Thank you.
So this flag is presented with eternal gratitude and respect. And in memory of Wayne and all he's given for our country, all he has meant to your family, and it is our honor to present this to you both today in his memory. had some other flags to present, but the families did not arrive.
Come on.
One more thing to do.
I'm gonna get on one side.
Nobody's hungry.
Everyone, I'd like to introduce you to, I'm gonna brag on you a little bit, Juan. This is Juan. He's a 3-year committeeman here at Post, and we are honored to have him with us tonight. Juan is one of my very special heroes. He has been awarded 3 Bronze Stars. So he is my world. So, Juan, you've got something to turn over tonight, please.
On behalf of American Legion Post family, I've been with some of the brothers and sisters that your names have read today. Very moving, so I won't be long. I know it costs money for this. And no money, dollar value, ever replace fallen soldier, Marine, sailor, airman, no dollar amount. But on behalf of the Commander and I, Post family, we just want to make a wish. We know logistics, offering, feed you, water, we know that. For all brothers and sisters, thank you,
Let's get him fed. Let's go.
I got one more thing I'd like to say.
Somebody said,
Although George is almost Arlington National Cemetery, his fight to get this flag recognized is just beginning. My wife's been passing this food around, taking donations. I know she's already announced it, but if anybody would like to come up and donate some money to this cause, the boot will be set in the air, and this will go to George. So anybody would like to donate, bring it on up.
Oh, Fred, would you like to, did somebody bless the food?
Juan,
Juan,
you're up.
bless the food, please.
Can please stand, we will be covered. Dear Father Almighty, we thank you for blessing us with all the people here today. We thank you for blessing us for our soldiers that have fallen, for they are a blessing. We thank you for the blessings that we have received. We thank you for the blessings that we do not know that are blessings. We ask for the run for the fallen members to be safe, finish their goal, and we ask for our family members joining us today to be safe, to our officers, soldiers, Marines, sailors, airmen, Coast Guard, and our family members. With God's peace. Amen.
Amen.